I'm turned on, that's why.
Okay.
So hi everybody, we're here today to discuss Think Like a Transaction Coordinator. So the primary applet that we'll be exploring today is the Opportunities applet in Command. So this class is really geared towards those that have their marketing profile already set up in Command. They've been in Opportunities before, they know what it looks like. But even if you've not been in there before, this class, excuse me, will still help you get a big picture view on what Opportunities does and how powerful it can be for your business. So a little bit about me, I come from a director of operations background for a Keller Williams team. And we were a fairly large team of 8 agents. And so before Command, so now that Command is here with Opportunities and with all of the powerful tools that we have at our fingertips, it's really amazing. And as an agent, you should really feel empowered, whether you have a team or you're a solo agent, to really put yourself into that transaction coordinator mindset and explore the powerful tool that Opportunities has to offer you. So why is Opportunities so great? It's great because it's a sales pipeline. It's a projection pipeline, right? So as a business owners know their numbers. So Opportunities can really allow you to understand conversion rates, set goals, know how many opportunities in your pipeline you need to achieve those goals. It also allows you to supply really great service on a consistent basis. How does it do that? Well, you can create templates of checklists for each stage of your opportunities that you deem appropriate for your transactions. And you can ensure consistency through those checklists right in Command by checking off things as you get it done. Now also, it allows you to communicate actively with your clients. So as you check things off in your Opportunities pipeline, as you'll see, your sellers or buyers will also be alerted of that if you have them set up appropriately. So it can really be an all-encompassing, powerful tool to save you time and effort, and kind of that mental headache of, what do I do now? Where am I at in this transaction? Oh, I have to get back to this person. If you really attune yourself to Opportunities and really buy in to setting up the checklists appropriately, it's going to save you a lot of the time and that effort. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get into it. Okay, so here we have our Opportunities, and this is what it looks like right as you first log in. A good thing to note is that you can also view your Opportunities in list form if that seems more appropriate to you. And as you get more and more opportunities, you can also create filters to only see listings or buyers, etc., whatever you're focusing on that day. So it's really oriented to be set up in terms of viewing to be appropriate for what you are wanting to focus on. So you can kind of shrink down the amount of information you're seeing on one screen, which is really helpful if you need to stay focused. So we'll go back to this view. Now here, we're gonna just talk about the different phases. So these are standardized phases that Keller Williams, in coming up with the Opportunities applet, deemed kind of universal for all real estate transactions. So first you have the cultivate phase, which is where you're nurturing leads, right? Then they go into an appointment, active when you have the listing active or you're actively looking with a buyer, under contract, self-explanatory, and then closed. Now, these are all important, okay? So the main dilemma, or I guess, problem that we see is that a lot of agents aren't taking advantage of some of these two end phases, right? So they're going into Command and creating an opportunity at either the appointment or the active, or even sometimes at the under contract phase. So the second that you have somebody in conversation, in a real estate conversation, the second you go get your haircut and your hairstylist says, oh, I'm thinking of buying a house in 6 months or a year, I think I'm going to list my house. That person needs to go into the cultivate phase. Okay, so this is a sales pipeline. So it's not just where your sales that you're actively have listed or active buyers are just sitting for no reason. It's a pipeline. So it's an active flow of business. So that's from start to finish and beyond. So I really want to emphasize that it's not just somewhere you dump the people that you're actively working with to ensure that you have the documents and to ensure that you are compliant and to ensure you get paid. Of course, that's part of it, but it's really an entire all-encompassing pipeline of all of your business. So That said, the first thing to really focus on is who here, Dale, but who of you that are watching this later, make sure that you have at least 100 contacts, okay, in Command. All right, so opportunities and contacts are really inextricably linked, and I'll tell you why. Because if you have 100 contacts, statistics say that if you're actively marketing to those 100 contacts, which we can go into in a different class, on a consistent basis, you should be able to get 6 pieces of business from those 100 contacts. Now, those 6 pieces of business, where should they go? They should go into your sales pipeline, right? So as you move, this is how we fish as real estate agents, right? With our databases. We don't necessarily need to do outside marketing or postcards or cold calling. Of course, that's part of the lead generation system, but if you have a strong database and you're actively marketing to it, it's gonna organically produce you business that will inevitably feed into your opportunities. So if you're interested in knowing how to market to your database, there's an Automate Your Database class coming up on August 12th, and there will also be a 36 Touch database class coming up in September, so stay tuned for that. So that's the first thing. If you're here and I really hope that you also have a contact database set up in Command. So let's go back to opportunities now. So again, first start with Cultivate, right? Then we get to appointment, active, under contract, and close. Okay, so those phases cannot be changed. Those are set in stone. Those are the pieces of the transaction that are universal and cannot be changed. What can be changed is if you go into here, you'll see this Cultivate phase has different stages in it. So this button here, when you're in the opportunity section, the view of listings Cultivate, you can click this Edit Stages button, and within this Cultivate phase, we have 3 stages. Now, some of these have been edited for our purposes. This is our demo account for our Market Center, but some of them are standardized. So as you'll see when you're probably clicking around in your opportunities in these different phases, you'll have some stages set up, and those are just the templated ones by Keller Williams. But the cool thing, right, is that you can edit these. You can reorder them. You can actually edit the name. So if you didn't want watch, you can edit it to be whatever you want. Some people have a stage called pool. So that's where all of their leads from their Facebook ads or from postcards or anybody that has just expressed some interest goes into the pool in the Cultivate stage. And also additional to the stage, you can see that there's a probability percentage tied to that stage. So this is really like kind of a feedback, right? So as you really pour in some information and actively work these stages and phases and opportunities, you'll be able to discern what the conversion rates are for each of these stages and phases, right? So that way the probability percentage can actively be changed and updated so that as you go further and further into this process, you'll see a clearer and clearer picture of what your conversion rates are in real life and how many, for example, people in the watch stage you need at one time to know that you're going to convert them over into the active phase and so on and close that business. So this is for business people, right? This is a business minded look at your business, at your sales pipeline. Opportunities is not just somewhere to house paperwork. It's really a sales pipeline that if you work it accurately, and if you get into this mindset of a transaction coordinator, really a CEO, honestly, looking at the numbers, will pay off in dividends. So we can edit the stage name and the probability, but we'll leave it here for now. Now you can also, you'll see here, edit these checklists, okay? So the checklists you can add, these are the templated checklists for each stage. So each stage that you create can have a separate checklist. It can be nothing, or it can be as many items as you want, which is really nifty. So here you'll see that we have our first checklist item is set tasks or follow-up of nurture plan. And then we can start neighborhood nurture plan. So you'll see that in this Cultivate phase, we're really emphasizing putting people on smart plans, which makes sense, right? Because if you're putting somebody on a neighborhood nurture every month and they're getting an email to them once per month, that's 12 touches already that they're receiving from you. So the conversion rate increases higher and higher and higher the more that you're contacting these people in the Cultivate watch stage. So then we have the nurture phase, or stage rather, and then we have a hot stage. So in the hot stage, we're going to get into setting the listing appointment. So kind of once we move somebody in the our cultivate pool here into the hot stage, that means, that signals to us that we know they're ready to start working with us. So we want to set up that listing appointment. So these are templates, right, that you can edit. And then the great thing is that every time you have a list, you add an opportunity to one of these stages, they'll automatically get the checklist that's templated to that stage. So here you'll see this opportunity with my name and listing. We have that templated opportunity checklist set up already. Now, once you go into the opportunity card here, you'll be able to see the checklist also up here if you want. So there's different views that you can toggle to, but you can set dates, due dates for each opportunity. So you have the templated checklists, right, that we're creating up here in the edit stages button. And then once we create an opportunity, you can actually, that template will be there. And then you can set due dates also for that particular opportunity. That will then feed into your task list, your opportunity task list here with those due dates in mind. So you can see how this starts to become a really well-rounded and circular kind of system that's set up to ensure your performance as an agent and to ensure you close as much business as possible. So this is why your CRM and your command should really be like your boss. You should really, as much as you're feeding into it, it will pay you back. Okay, so pay attention to that. So as you can see, we have the checklist here. You can set the due dates, you can edit it, delete it, anything that you want. You can also add custom items. So you don't have to just only use the templated checklists for each of these stages. You can also add particular items that are, of course, every deal is different and every transaction requires different things. So you can add custom template checklist items with custom due dates as well. Okay, so now as we go into appointments, so let's see some other opportunities that we have here. We have now, let's say we brought this opportunity all the way into the active phase. Now we have this opportunity sitting here at the listing execution stage within our active phase, right? And then you can see on the opportunity card, we have our estimated close date. So that's a great piece of information. And we also have our estimated commission here. So right away, in this view, you can really see like what your business is doing. So imagine if you had 5 different opportunity cards here sitting in the listing execution, you'll get a really good sense of where your listing where your business stands and how much money you can potentially earn. So now we have this checklist that's here, which is our listing execution checklist that we created. So it's dependent upon obviously how you do business and also how the region, you know, the generic business practices of whatever region you're practicing real estate in is. So we have verified taxes, get the listing agreement signed, paperwork signed, adding the listing to the MLS agreement, so on and so on and so forth. So you can see just to get a listing live is a lot of work. But so having a checklist becomes essential, right? To remember all of the different pieces of the puzzle to ensure that everything's getting done efficiently on time and that you're meeting your expectations of your sellers or buyers. And this is also very, very helpful, even if you are a solo agent right now, if you did bring in an administrator at some point soon or have somebody part-time help you with transaction management, to have all of these checklists set up and have these be like your, you know, guidelines to how you want to run your business, have that already set up is gold. It's really, it just becomes so helpful. So we have due dates set up for these. Obviously, they're dependent on when this opportunity gets put into this stage, right? So when the paperwork needs to be completed, when the listing agency agreement needs to be completed, so on and so forth. So then we can also, again, add these custom items down at the bottom or not. We can just follow the templated checklist as well. So another note is when you move an opportunity into the different stages just like that, or you can also view the details of the opportunity and edit the stage here. So here we have the stage, you can change it here. The checklist will also update and change dependent on what different phase and stage the opportunity is in. So you don't have to worry about, you know, making sure that the checklists are there. They get updated automatically based upon the templated generic checklist that you create in the opportunity section. So that is the checklist, and those are really important. Now, a lot of the first questions that we get around this is, how do I know what should go on the checklist, right? Especially for newer agents, or even for agents that have been doing business for a while, but they just haven't kind of systematized the process. We will be providing checklist, contract to close checklist for anybody on this call. And if you are not on the call, then you can always email us, email myself, or anybody on the leadership team to get those contract to close checklists. And they are generic, so please feel free to edit them at will, depending upon how you run your business. But it will give you a good sense of kind of a cumulative effort for what different types of, you know, items need to be on that checklist to close a deal. So that's where to start, right? But then secondarily, you kind of want to also go, especially if you're an agent who's already been doing business, go through the checklist, but then also go back and think about all the business that you have closed before, and make sure you add in the little things that you do. So if you send like a templated email to your sellers when you know, they sign the listing agreement, or when they close on the house, you can expand on those checklists as much as you want to really provide your personal value, you know, to those clients. So make sure you do that. Also, I want to emphasize again on these opposite ends of the sales pipeline here on the cultivate and close. That is where your checklist should be expanded, I think, the most, honestly, because even once you close on a property with a client, the post-close system that you set up for them is just as important as all the other checklists within that sales opportunity. Because again, it goes back to your contacts, right? So if that person that you worked with, you successfully closed on their property with them, if you instantly set them up on a really value-driven sort of protocol that's providing them a lot of information and also reminding them of you, they're going to refer you to their friends and family. So you have to keep in mind that all of your closed business is future business as well. So make sure that you're creating a checklist for on your closed phase to ensure that you can maximize any business and profitability from your past clients. Okay, so now we're going to go into, let's see. Okay, so we'll go into the document section. We'll explore a couple other features of the opportunities here that might not be immediately known. So we'll go into this opportunity. Okay, so the other thing that I want to note that I kind of touched on at the beginning here is the seller profile. So both buyer opportunities and listing opportunities have this seller or buyer profile. You might be wondering what that is. So this will let you know if the contact associated with this opportunity has registered with your app. So it all comes full circle, right? So this is why it's important to, once you have clients, right, that you're working with, or even in the cultivate phase, it's a great time to get them signed up on the KW app. Get them signed up on the app with the email address that you have in your database for them, because then it'll link the fact that they signed up and chose you as their agent on the app, and that they're registered here. So now when you create a guide, right? So the Kelly guides and the guides will tie in with the different phases and stages that you have set up to alert your clients through their app what kind of checklist items you've progressed through automatically. So it doesn't require now a million emails going back and forth, like buyers just signed the contract, mortgage was approved for buyers, we're doing the inspection now. If you set up your guide accurately, you can just click through on here the different items that you've already accomplished in real time, and your sellers or your buyers will receive messages and notifications that you've been moving through these items of the deal. So that's really great for millennials, or for, I don't want to generalize, or for anybody that just doesn't like that constant communication or isn't so great at replying or reading their emails. and they just want to see like that the deal is moving along and don't really want to reach out or don't, just aren't active in that way. So this is a really amazing way. And also for the people that do read their emails or anything else, it just adds a level of professionalism to the way that you're doing business. So that'll be another class as well, setting up all the guides. But I just want to make you pay attention to this section and don't just brush it off. It can be a really great value add for your clients. So here we're in the document section, which everyone is familiar with. So this, in case you don't know, is where you will file all, this is like the file folders of all your finalized signed paperwork for your transactions. So you have different checklists here, residential or vacant listings, and also on the buyer side, you have residential purchases, etc., with the different checklists broken out here for listed, under contract, and closed checklists. These are just checklists. So as you can see, these are document names and they're checklists as such. And you can add files here from Dotloop or DocuSign, whatever you have integrated, or manually from your computer. So never fear if you're somebody that just likes to manually handwrite and get hand signed paperwork from your clients. You can always scan it and upload it right here from your computer, which is great. Now, the cool thing that some people don't really realize, they can communicate with our leadership team, our compliance officer and our comptroller or MCA, who generally pays you and checks your files for compliance. You can contact them and message them right here. So you can say at Lori, who's our compliance officer, this deal fell apart, or you can say the buyer's changed, updated paperwork in file. And you can add that conversation right there. She's going to get that and not understand what I mean. And she can reply to you. So this is really nice. Again, it's just another way to take you out of email. That's kind of the goal of Command, is to refocus and streamline all of your communication so that you are paying attention to what you need to be paying attention to, and everything is really already organized for you. So all of the communication with our leadership team for this compliance file, for this opportunity, can be housed right within here. So that's a really nice thing that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to. And also once somebody replies, Lori or Maureen or Aaron, Ray, whoever's your MCA, you'll get a little red notification up in the bell, and you'll also get notified on your Kelly app if you're using that as well on your phone. The other neat trick is that you can attach multiple files at once. So if you have a lot of like if you don't want to go through every single one and manually click add file, which I do anyway, I don't know why, but you can add multiple files at once, and it's just a faster way to kind of like saves you a few clicks to add multiple files right here. So those are two neat little things in the document section. The other thing is that you can add custom folders. So you can really utilize this document section to be your finalized, all of your paperwork for this opportunity lives here, not just the files that we need for our compliance purposes, but all of your files. So if you want to add a custom folder outside of these compliance checklists that include surveys or the appraisals or the mortgage documents, whatever files that you're copied on that are integral to this deal, you can add a custom folder just for you or for us to share with us that includes all of those documents, so that all of your files for this, if you need to reference back for however long, live in this place. So I think that's a really great thing to do, just so you know in your mind, okay, all of my files are right in my opportunity and I don't have to reference anywhere else. Because we all know going back in email and trying to find a random PDF sometimes is not fun. So now we have offers. This is another really amazing thing and opportunities that is especially pertinent now that we have a multiple buyer, multiple offer situations in a lot of these listings. So we can add offers here, and you can, name the offer with probably the client name, right? Or the agent name, whatever you want. Create the offer. And now this is also important to know how to create these offers because it initiates the commissions tab to light up, which is how it's almost your invoice to the Market Center. So it's how we pay you or know what to pay you. So we want to make sure that you understand that the offer section kind of triggers this. But even beyond that, the offer section offers a lot of opportunity here. So this is our offer one. Now we can name the offer date, the potential close date, whatever we want it to be, like say it's 60 days. Now we can name the buyers, buyer name 1, seller, it should be pre-filled in here based upon the contact that you have tied with the opportunity. You can mark whether they're pre-approved or just pre-qualified. You can mark the agents, the buyer agent if they're there, if it's not you, if it's someone else. And then you are the associate representing the seller in this case. So now I guess I have to enter the name to go on to the next place. And we'll just name. Okay, now we go to terms. So here you can see it's pretty detailed. You can have the amount that they're putting down, finance amount, which ultimately leads to the final sales price that they're offering, the option fee, any termination option, seller's costs, etc. So as we know now, there's a lot of different offers on the table with a lot of different terms. So you want to be as explicit as possible if you are going to present this to your sellers, which you can definitely do. So let's say we're offering $10,000 cash, $90,000, so $100,000. Okay, so now we get to the fun part, which is your agent analysis. So just think of this as a more formal way to present an offer rather than calling your client on the phone and just telling them or just writing an email. You can always obviously pick up the phone and call them to present the offer, but this is a kind of a backup way to present all of the offers and compare and contrast in a very, formalized and analytical way. So you can write in your personal analysis of the pros and cons of each offer and then summarize, save that. And now once you add multiple offers here, say you had 3 over the weekend or something, you can really see, let's see, we can send the offer to our client and add attachments also as necessary. So we'll send a copy. Okay, so now the offer has been sent. Oh, email not sent. But basically, it's just because my email probably is not correct. But let's see, generate offer URL. So you can also make a URL. I guess I didn't know that. You can create a URL for this offer as well to share with your clients, which is really interesting. But essentially, once you add more than one, it will actually compare on a PDF, like offer 1, offer 2, or offer A, offer B, and break down the different terms. And you can send that PDF to your client via email. And it really creates a powerful impact for them. Like, oh, my agent is really looking out for my fiduciary, benefit, and they're really representing me well. I think especially for those clients that are more finance-based or numbers-based, it's a really powerful tool. So we can, once we accept this offer, now you can see the commissions tab lights up here, and this becomes your agent invoice to get paid with the Market Center. So that's another class, but you can see that all of these different sections here are very much intertwined. You can also add notes here. So especially if you're on a team, this is kind of how you can communicate with your team members on opportunities as well. So it almost acts as like a Slack channel within the opportunity itself. So it is a powerful tool, right? This is a really powerful way to manage your opportunity if you buy in. So it just takes a little bit of buy-in and a little bit of experimentation to see how it works for you and your business. And of course, anything new is going to be a tiny bit uncomfortable, just learning the ropes of how it works and how it operates. But I promise you, if you buy into this and really pay attention to all of the different features that these opportunities offer, you'll see that it can transform the way that you think about your business, which is a really important thing, I believe. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions or comments or ahas? And out in cyberspace, please leave your comments below. Okay, so I think that that's a good way to wrap up. Again, if you have any trouble creating the templates and the phases and stages, or just are kind of unsure of how to break out your stages within the phases, I know it can be kind of nuanced, but don't be afraid to play around. That's a great takeaway as well. Don't be afraid to experiment. You're not going to break it. Just go with something, see how it works, and adjust as needed. Don't let that stop you from digging in. So that's what I'll say. And also, if you do want some guidance, some more additional guidance around that, please feel free again to reach out to myself, to Jonathan, to Aaron, to Ray, to anybody on the leadership team. We're more than happy to help look at your business, look at what you're doing, and then translate that into phases and stages for the opportunity section. Okay, all right, so anybody on the call will receive a follow-up email to this with additional resources, and we would love to hear some feedback from you as well. If you liked the class, if you didn't, anything like that, feel free to reply to that email with that feedback. All right, thanks everybody. Take care, bye.